What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. What are we doing today? We're gonna make a tour, or I'm gonna do a tour. I'm gonna take you on a tour. Adam from Grease Spot Garage gave me the recommendation because I have so many vehicles, and I pop into people's chats and I start talking about different things when it comes to my cars. People don't know which ones are which. So we're gonna try and make a quick video. It's not gonna be quick at all, about the different vehicles I have and what the general story is. So we're gonna start with this one because it's the closest to the back door, and then we're gonna work our way that way. So first things first, this is my wife's 2003 Volkswagen Passat V6 4Motion. If you know anything about Volkswagens, the Passats are the bigger cars. They are the more luxury-oriented models. They're the cars that your grandmother or your grandfather would have driven rather than a Golf or a Jetta. Golf or a Jetta is meant more for commuter cars, small car, fuel, whatever. This is a little tiny bit more rare than a standard Passat in the sense that it's a 4Motion car. But this car is one of the most common 4Motion cars they ever made. It's the sedan, V6, automatic transmission, all-wheel drive. Okay, no big deal. However, the beauty of this is a friend of mine owned this, and he bought it in 2008 or 9, I believe, and I think he owned it until we bought it. And I think we've had it for about 5 years now. So he had this car for almost a decade, if I remember correctly. I'm not actually sure anymore. Either way, he did all kinds of good stuff. There are high-end coilovers on this. I think they're STs. I think he paid something like $800,000 for them. He put the density line control arm kit in here, so it has stiffer bushings. It has tighter ball joint tolerances. They're not stock. They're stock replacements as far as how they fit and go in and adjustments and everything, but they are just a higher, tighter quality product. We have an underdrive pulley on this thing. Motor mounts have been done. Has a polyurethane snub mount. This is a silver car, obviously, with black leather interior. It's one of the fancy models, like I said, so it's got the Climatronic and the Monsoon sound system. The interior in this car is pretty clean. The dashboard is starting to fall apart. Both of the lower sections have broken in pieces that I can't fix, so we can't really do much about it, but there's a little bit of sag starting here and there on stuff, but sooner than later this car should actually be getting fixed. I'm hoping before the middle of the summer, because we still have tags and insurance on this thing. Oh, look at that. And you see a little mouse done built itself a freaking, damn it, can't stand living in the country sometimes. They have destroyed that. Golly dag. I don't see nothing up in there for the moment, so it is what it is. But anyway, big giant bulky V6 that this thing is. I've got like some function of short ram, cool air-ish intake. You see down there, you can't see it because it's just so down there and tight in it. But this is pretty much that. Stock as far as like tune goes or anything like that. It's just a really well maintained car. These cars are comfortable. They eat up the miles. They're not hard to drive at all. But that is this car. Next in line is my Jetta. Now I know that you guys have seen under the hood, so I'm gonna save the time on popping the hood because there's not really much to show there. There's a long list of things that are done to this car. It is one of my longest owned cars at the moment. It's actually behind Disappointment under there, which we'll get to. This is kind of the daily beater. You see the fenders are faded black. The hood looks like shit. I've got paint chipping everywhere. This is the good side. You walk yourself right on around. You'll notice I've done the GTI headlight conversion. These Jettas typically have square single chamber headlights, whereas I have the rounded dual chamber headlights. So I have a low beam and a high beam. So Volkswagen stuff. The bumper doesn't change between Golfs and Jettas and all that. That's the same. It's just grille, headlights, and hood are what change. And I did this because I've always liked swapping front ends on these cars. I've always thought that with the Jetta's longer body, you know, having that trunk go all the way out to the back, I've always felt like the rounded front end blended into the squareness better. Whereas with the GTI, there's no trunk, it's a hatch. So it just kind of abruptly right there, and of course my GTI is a 2-door, so somewhere back in here where this C-pillar is, the car just ends. And so the square up front with the chunky square in the rear just looks better to me. But with the Jetta, I did the GTI front end. I did this correctly where I actually took headlights, harness, and all from my GTI and put it in here. So I believe this is Disappointment's headlight harness. This is Disappointment's headlights. Can't remember if that's Disappointment's hood or not. But then we get to the bad side and you see all of the chunkiness. So it's kind of hard to tell. But like, there's panel gaps, there's dents and dings. You can see down there in the back door where the bottom's caved in. The car's not necessarily a great car as far as overall body condition goes, but with the stuff that's done to it, the car actually drives amazingly. And with it looking like this, I don't actually have to worry or stress when I park in a parking lot, because it's like, all right, well, it's already beat up. As long as that bitch starts when I get out there, I don't really care what it does. So the key things here are, firstly, it has the 8-valve 4-cylinder in it, also known as the ABA engine code. They used this engine from 1993 all the way to 99 when they stopped making this body style. In Mark IV, which it would be that one there, but that one's a 1.8T car, so it's not a good example. The Mark IV, the 8-valve stayed mostly the same, but they revised it, got rid of the distributor, and then they added a camshaft positioning sensor to it, and a coil pack style ignition where it's a central coil with 4 points and you just put your spark plug wires to that, but it's largely the same motor with just different electronics and management. This is even a revision of the 1.8 liter that went into the Mark II. The key difference is that this is a cross-flow head rather than a counterflow head. The cross-flow, the intake goes in the front side of the motor, does its thing in the cylinder, and then it goes out the back side of the head to vent the exhaust. So most vehicles for a long time were counterflow type heads. That Ford right there is a perfect example of a counterflow type head. Intake and exhaust, same side of the head. So it goes in and then it horseshoes and comes back out, U-turns, whatever you want to call it. Whatever. I've cammed this. I've done timing. I've done a bunch of maintenance to it, really. It's got a matching chip to the cam, so it actually rips pretty damn good for what it is, but it's still like a mid 10-second car in the 8th mile. If I had to put a quarter-mile time on it, it's probably low 14s, maybe as fast as mid 13s, high 13s. It wouldn't be very fast at all. Not a big thing. There's not very many plans for this car other than that black Jetta there. We'll get to it in a minute. But there are plans for this at some point in the future, maybe. I just haven't decided if I want to go through with it yet. This car has been in an accident before. The whole front passenger side underneath of the bumper area has been pushed up under the car. The bumper's actually held on the passenger side by a zip tie. And it's just been like that forever. It looks good, so I just keep sending it and don't do anything with it. Anywho, it's got, I think it's FK coilovers on it, which at the time were like $650. It's got polyurethane control arm bushings. It's got solid motor mounts. There's a hodgepodge exhaust underneath of it where it looks like crap, but it sounds okay. Flows pretty decent. I've got the ABD big bore intake on it. You guys saw that the other day. I need to get another chip where I can put the 3-inch MAF on it and have it 3-inch all the way out, which really defeats the purpose in my opinion, because the exhaust is only 2 1/4, so running a 3-inch intake on a 2 1/4 inch exhaust outlet, it's not really there's not really a lot that it's going to help, I don't think, but having it just be one consistent size looks nice under the hood, and for 3-inch mass airflow sensor, it potentially supports me being able to run a turbo on it and have like really, really, really unrestrictive inlet speeds, which is acceptable for one of these type builds. But that's if I ever get that far with that. We'll talk about the rest of it later. The minivan. All right, so the minivan is a 2010 Dodge Grand Caravan. You see, it's got that there 3.8 liters of Fury. Not Fury at all. I got this in a trade. The plan originally was I needed something that was not as tall as the Dodge and was not as short down to the ground as my Passat was. I wanted this because I was going to have my cancer surgery and I wanted to be able to get in and out of a vehicle a lot easier. Unfortunately, the time before my surgery that was leading up to me trying to fix this ran out real quick, and I just never got to it. Never got the chance to order the parts, never got the chance to clean it or do anything, and I still haven't done the full clean. I've washed it, and you see I've already put dust in, so I gotta wash it again. We did get all of the wheels cleaned on it though, which I know I only showed cleaning the one wheel the other day, this morning's video, be yesterday's video now. But I did go through and clean all 4 wheels, and they are something pearly. I did decide that I'm going to start trying to look at maybe getting a set of tires for it. I know I said I wasn't going to put tires on it because they look decent, but now that I was down there actually scrubbing away, had my face in it, at the minimum, these 2 front ones have something of a soft shoulder on them, so I'm not too big a fan of them. The 2 rears look okay, so I may just get 2 front tires and rock with the rears, but the point is now, I'm trying to wait to see what happens with the Passat wagon. If the guy on June 11th at Raceworks can figure out what's wrong with this car and can turn it back into a car that I want it to be, I am going to continue full steam ahead with my Passat. However, if the Passat doesn't do what I need it to do, and it's not something that's going to be easily fixed, then I intend on transferring the tags and registration from the Passat wagon over to the van. And then I'm just going to put, I'm going to put miles on this. I'll clean it up real good. I'm probably going to do something of a small video on me trying to go through and do the waxing process on this. I don't know that I'll really get heavy into it on a video. I don't know. It just depends on how I feel on the day I decide to do it. Really, I need like shade and room, and I really don't want to go under the trees, because what if tree sap? It's just, I don't know. Anyway, you know what? Yeah, we'll go over here. So I'm not going to talk too much about the Sentra or the Mark IV wagon, because neither of them are mine. This belongs to my buddy's girlfriend, this belongs to my buddy Josh, and then out of these 2 older cars, neither of them are mine either. That's a Mark II Jetta, and then that's a Mark II GTI. The GTI belongs to Josh, who owns this as well, but the Mark II Jetta sitting next to it belongs to my wife's cousin Andrew. I'll get to that in a little bit. So, the Passat wagon. You guys have seen me work on this thing a bunch. You know that this thing exists. I've tried my damnedest to, try and fix it and make it into a somewhat nice vehicle, and I just cannot seem to get this thing to make the boost I want it to make. Look at it with the headlights on it, though. Oh, God, yes. God, son of a so good. I love it. But anyway, 1.8T, front-wheel drive, manual transmission, kind of a rare setup, kind of a rare combination. Most of the Passats were, in fact, automatic transmissions. Finding a manual transmission is not terribly rare, but finding a manual transmission wagon with the 1.8T in it is kind of rare. They did put 1.8Ts in these wagons very regularly, but they were automatics. And then, like we'll show you in the back once I get to it, I have a 4-cylinder automatic 4Motion as well. But I'm going to skip talking too much about the wagon, because I've already poured my heart out about that piece of shit so many damn times that we're done with it. We'll see what the professional says, and we'll try to come up with whatever money he says it's going to take to fix it, and then that's just going to be that. So, moving back to the back, you see that we've got a pick-em-up truck with a flatbed on it, a Jetta, and the tractor, and then I got a bunch of shit in there. So, this Jetta, this is a parts car. This car is a donor car. I bought it because it's a VR6. And it's not even necessarily my car, but I made a deal on it with Andrew, who has that Mark II back there. I'm taking this engine swap. Motor, harness, ECU, the whole 9. And I'm thinking about putting it in that Jetta there. I don't have a title to this car, and the original owner died. So unless I want to go through some incredibly aggravating process to try and get a title for this thing just to fix it, I'm not going to do that. We're going to part it out. We're going to strip it down. We're going to take everything out of it. It's got a strong, complete VR6 in it. So there's not really much to say. The headlight to taillight chassis harness and fuse box are going to come out of this car. And then they're going to go into that Mark II Jetta that's over there. And we're going to swap this to a Mark III harness. We're going to do headlight to taillight. So we'll be putting headlight or Mark III bulbs and stuff in the headlights. And then we'll be rewiring the rear plugs for the Mark II tails. And then there's the Ford. So the Ford, I convinced my buddy to go in with me, which I lent my labor and time to going to get it, to buy this thing. And the reason I did it is because look at how clean that cab corner is. Look at how straight that rocker is. The fenders. Look at how clean the cab of this truck is. It's a work truck. So yeah, the paint's not great. It's just that bullshit work truck white. It's got a service bed. So there's really not, it's not smashed. It's not bent. So like clearly that's fine. We have an electric dump bed, which apparently worked when the truck was parked, but there's something wrong with it. We can't get spark out of it. We can't get the fuel pump to kick on. I think it has something to do with the ignition switch, but like the truck is just such a clean body truck. So being as clean body as it is, I just decided that I was going to convince my buddy to buy it. It's a 250, so it's a 3/4 ton. It's a manual transmission truck, but instead of having that bullshit Mazda junk transmission in it, this one has the actual heavy-duty transmission that has PTO outs and stuff on it. So even if we don't stick with the inline 6 that's in this truck, we can pull that out and we can put a big block on it, we can put a small block in it, we can put a diesel in it, we can do whatever we want to do with it. That heavy-duty transmission will stand up to a ridiculous amount of torque. Then there's the tractor. Now the tractor runs, drives, cuts, does everything I need it to do usually. Needs a battery. Gauges don't work, so I never know how much fuel I've got. It's always a crapshoot as to whether or not we're going to get through where we're getting through, and funny enough, I don't have anything strong enough to really pull on it, so if it runs out of fuel in the back, it's going to stay in the back. The Passat, this used to be my buddy Will's car, Will's girlfriend's car. You see the theme. I look out for my friends and try to help them out where I can. Store their shit boxes or whatever they need. But the motor in this car went to that wagon. Some things have gone, and I don't know. I might strip some more out of this, or I might load it down with a bunch of bullshit and take it to the scrapyard. Haven't decided. The Beetle. So, 1.9 turbo diesel, 5-speed manual transmission. I don't really have a good way to look at it, but we've done Raceland coilovers. You see that we've got the Mark V GTI Detroit 17-inch wheels. They're a little scuffed up. Definitely need some refinishing, but we put some new tires on them. Oh, goodness. So I still have a lot to do. You see, we're in the process of trying to go through and clean and replace any and all interior that we can. You remember I mentioned the junkyard run. These are the seats that we ended up with. This is what came out. Just absolutely garbage versus some nice clean leathers. That discoloration bothers me so bad. I'm going to have to help her get that shit off of there, whatever the hell it is. But anyway, done a bunch of work to this. Time belt water pump. I got a ECM flash on it, but I'm going to be honest, if the ECM flash in my Passat ain't worth a fuck, I'm really not expecting this one to be worth a fuck, because the dude that did my Passat that apparently maybe might have fucked it up could have also maybe might have fucked this one up too. So I don't know. We'll find out when we get there. This is disappointment. Disappointment. I've shown him on the video before. 2-liter 8-valve, Mark IV intake manifold conversion, upper strut bar. I've got an ignition system there that looks like the coil's finally starting to leak a little bit or something. Maybe it's oil spray, I don't know. The motor runs, and it runs pretty good. I'm pretty sure it's got some bent valves in it at the moment, some slightly kissed valves, because you start getting up to around 6,600 RPM, and it just hits a natural rev limit where it won't go any higher, it just won't. Which is also fine, because these things have economy heads in them, and the valve springs aren't rated to rev much higher than 6,200 RPM on a stock cam. I'm running like 6,800, 6,900 RPM on a bigger cam, so I understand why the car's not happy sometimes when it starts to rev out. It's not normally worth revving these out. They're kind of like older V8s where they make a lot of torque down low, but they don't really rev that high. Pushing this to 7,000 RPM almost really doesn't do me much good unless you're running like a 276 cam. I'm running a 266 cam, so I'm quite a bit underneath that 276 threshold. But I've got coilovers, exhaust work, headers, chip, interior's gutted. Bunch of lightweighting stuff has happened. Got me some strips. This is an old Beetle that used to be Amanda's. It was a 2-liter automatic car. It's been ripped out of there since then. We've got that one now. We have taken a bunch of parts out of this one so far. Stuff that's still kind of worth having. I mean, these door panels are shite, but we may end up taking them out and trying to patch them up. I don't know what we're going to do just yet, but there's still plenty of stuff in this car that we need to take care of. Let's skip both of them. Although, like I said, the Jetta is going to end up getting the VR6 car's harness and body harness, chassis harness, and fuse box, so that it's Mark III from front to back as far as it's concerned. And then the motor with the bigger cam that comes out of the Jetta is actually going to go in that Jetta. The Mark II, I may end up someday buying from Josh. I doubt it, though. I don't really want it. I don't want anything to do with Mark II anymore, hardly. I like them. I love people that build them. I love seeing what people build with them. But I just don't have the interest in daily driving a Mark II ever again, unless it's just a really low mileage original car that I'm starting from scratch with, because man, it's a lot of work to put a Mark III motor like a VR6 into one of them. You got to notch the frame, you got to do a bunch of extra shit, and it's just not, I don't like it. I'm good. EOS, this came from Will. One of his family friends, unfortunately, put it through a ditch the day she put tires on it. And so we pulled the motor out, sold it, used the money to buy some tools for the shop so that Will could help me out with that. This here is another VR6 Mark III Jetta. This is another donor car. I got this without a title. The original owner had pulled the transmission out, sold it to my friend, and then shortly after selling him the transmission, sold him the rest of the car. And then I bought both of them for $400. So this has the motor in it. The harness has been hurt, so I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to do anything with the harness, but I can at least use the motor and the trans that came out of it, and I'll just have to find a donor harness or maybe something. I don't know. We'll get there. This one is the 01 Passat. This is just a parts car. I bought this car in a deal. Came with the wagon and came with that Passat there. This bad unit, as far as I know, the ignition's locked up tight. The key doesn't want to turn. Can't get it into neutral, so you have to drag it whenever you want to mess with it. Tires are dry rotted to hell. Body's clean-ish, but it's largely a junk car that I just don't really need. I just keep it around for parts for the moment. Once I run out of parts that I need off of it or can use, it's going to go away. And then this is my 1.8T 4Motion station wagon. This one, another 4-cylinder turbo. Automatic transmission. Nothing special. My buddy supposedly rebuilt the engine, and when he got it running, something leaked, and he like freaked out on it and decided he didn't want it no more. Gave up on it. So one of these days, I need to like drag this thing out and around, because the interior in it, not for nothing, is pretty damn clean. Like, look at that. It's a 4Motion car, so it's got the Climatronic and stuff. It's pretty nice. But like, if I can get this running, find where the leak is, fix the leak, and then fix anything it needs and get it running again, I can either sell it or I can keep it and I don't know, nitrous build a 180 auto until the transmission shits itself. Like, I think the transmissions that they used in the Passats were the same transmissions that ended up in the Audi A6 and A4, I believe. And some of those motors came with as much as 400 and some horsepower, so there's some beef to it. Look at all the grapevine. It's gonna be super awesome. Look at all them grapes. Look at all them grapes. It's gonna be pretty cool. I'm not the biggest fan of grapes, but like, it is cool having some nature in your backyard like that. There's a handful of vineyards that are actually around my area and not terribly far from this area where birds go and they'll pluck grapes and then they'll fly by and poop a seed out, and before you know it, you got grapevines spreading all over the place. So I have no idea what kind of grapes they are, but if I had to guess, it'd probably be muscadine or something like that, because that's pretty common around here. I sprayed this yesterday, and I am seeing some signs of dying here and there. Some of these tips are starting to bend over a little bit up at the top. That guy's starting to burn a little bit. Looks like that dude's starting to burn down. Yeah, we did pretty good to spray some of this stuff down here yesterday. Even that guy, all the bushy stuff's starting to come off, and I'll give it a few more days of the heat, and then we'll go through and do some stuff. This needs work. I don't know how to work on it. If you want to come and help me fix it, I'd love it. Be a great asset to have again. 4-wheel drive, automatic 4-wheeler. Why not? I got 2 other 4-wheelers in the back and a pit bike that need work. All right. So that there is 90, little automatic. That there's a Kawasaki 90. The Kawasaki run, they both run if you hook a battery charger to them. The last guy that I had talked to about this stuff, he had said something to the effect of it probably needed stators. And I got that little pit bike down there. It's a 2-stroke 49 or 50cc pit bike. Needs reeds for sure. It'll run, but as soon as you try to throw any kind of a load on it, it starts breaking up, choking, and dying. So, you know, 2-stroke life, you got to have them reeds. But that has been the tour. Now, not more than 8 months ago, I actually had like 30 cars out here, and there was a bunch more shells and a bunch more shit, and we're getting there. We've been slowly but steadily whittling down the herd and knocking the fleet back just a little bit. But basically, that's the general gist of what I've got. And that's like the thought and process and plans for what I think I want to do on some of these different models. I may end up buying this wagon from Josh though, because I do like the wagon. It runs solid. The motor sounds super healthy. Turbo sounded good. It's an automatic. It's got 200,000 miles on it. If I put a time belt and water pump kit in it and service a transmission, theoretically that thing should be good for another 60, 80,000 miles and could be an absolutely awesome car. And not for nothing, because I have VCDS, I can scan the soft coating on that car and find out what the soft coat is. And then I can take that spare ECM for the 180 that did not work for the Passat wagon. And as long as the engine code is an AWP in that car, I can have it shipped ECM right out the gate and have that thing ripping, going super ballsy fast. So we'll see how that goes. I just need to come up with enough money that I feel comfortable offering him for it that doesn't seem like an insult. Because I want to give him $300 for it, because it's just sitting here and he's so busy with work that he's not got anything he can do with it. And the only reason I have the time that I have is because I'm still not working from recovering from cancer. So we'll see. But anyway, this has been my tour. I really hope you guys enjoyed seeing my shit boxes. Maybe if you liked a specific car, I'll do like a more in-depth walk around of that car and discuss everything I've done, like the Jetta or Disappointment. Most of this stuff has just been general gist, you know, a quick little synopsis of the vehicle, because again, I didn't want to do a 5-hour in-depth breakdown of all my different cars. So anyway, Adam, this is for you. This has been my tour. This is my fleet with my shit boxes. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're not one of my friends already and you're just finding one of my videos for the first time, feel free to stick around, but also feel free to go look at my friends. There's Lone Wrench Garage, there's Grease Spot Garage, there's Metal Art Customs, there's Never Done Projects. There are so many of us out here now that are getting together and trying to share the wealth of subscribers and views and stuff like that. We're trying to make the dream come true for all of us. So if you liked any of what you saw here, go watch those guys, because they've got way better content and it's way more detailed than what I do. Thank you, and I hope everybody has a great day. Love you, bye.